All right. Oh, that was fast. Here we go again with another read. And we're going to pull from the Mana, Light and Shadow deck. This is my Oracle deck. Welcome, my name is Des. I do tarot and Oracle cards. And I channel. So I've actually had a few cards that have dropped out already before I could even get before I could even get started. Actually, I think that's more than enough. That's fallen out. We've got, you fallen on the floor? No. Okay, there's some big ones. Now, I did start with this earlier. I did a tarot reading earlier, but some really heavy cards dropped out, and I thought, I don't want to, it's not even like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't want to start off with some big shadow cards to kick off my day and also your guys' day if you're seeing me this morning. So that's all right, because guess what? The cards that came out this morning and that earlier when I first drew from it, they came back out. So there's a need to speak about them. So I'm just going to organise them now so it kind of makes sense. Yep. All right. So there we go. Let me just show you the thing. These are my Oracle cards. They're the Mana, Light and Shadow Māori Oracle deck. When I was writing these cards, I was on a healing journey of my own. So a lot of these cards that I've written and illustrated have come from me meditating on each individual card based on the relationship that I had come out of. And so now I am basically sharing as I heal, but I'm sharing my healing journey with you guys and hopefully having some sort of effect and helping you to therefore heal in your own journeys. All right, so let's unpack the cards and go through each of them as they've come out. So we've got Toxic here. We've got Chameleon Effect, and I'll explain what that means. We've got EQ, Emotional Intelligence, the 3 baskets of knowledge, and Inspire card. So look, not all heavy, so we've got some really light-hearted cards here, which is a nice balance of both. I don't like it when it's just all shadow stuff that we're having to deal with. So the first one I want to talk about, because it has fallen out, is Toxic. Okay, so when we've got we're talking about in the context of love and being in a relationship, and in this case it was that you were involved with, or could still be involved with, someone who is toxic in your life. And usually where this sort of leads to is some destructive behaviours play out. It leaves you feeling quite devastated over a long period of time, or shocked in some way. And it's just basically it's like a lack of balance in the relationship. Okay, so it can be detrimental to your health mentally and physically, and quite devastating to your well-being overall. What else can I talk about with this card? In terms of the damage, yeah, lots of damage and loss, emotionally, physically, or even the demise of this person could also lead to financial ruin. Okay, so yeah, the toxic behaviours, even though they may not be aware of what they're doing, could also be perceived as harmful and therefore evil in intent and driven by spite or by malice. See, it's just such a yucky, ugly sort of behaviour that we're talking about here, but it has to be addressed because unfortunately in a love relationship, this is all part of it. This can be part of it. And so we have to address and talk about these darker sides. All right, so there is good news that comes from this, and we'll get into that soon. But I guess what I'll say from this is that when you come across this energy, this toxic kind of energy, there are a lot of life learnings that come from when these behaviours play out. So you will have learned a lot about people, and you also would have, the most important lessons is that you would have learned a lot about yourself, how you deal with this, how you respond to it, or do you respond, or do you just put up boundaries and move on? So yeah, just a couple of questions that I'm going to sort of throw out there. All right. The other thing that can come off from as a follow-on from the toxic behaviors is that even if you have put up a boundary and you've walked away from this person, or you're thinking about walking away, and let's talk about if you walked away, right? And it's kind of like this loop continues to go around in your head around what's happened, and you just keep replaying this loop. What happens when that's going on is this other person is, as part of their toxic behaviors, is still trying to manifest you back in. So their energy has a hold on you. And so it's like you can feel this energy even when you're not there, even when you're separated and you're not even sleeping in the same bed anymore, you may not even be in the same house, but this person is still like living for rent-free in your head. And that's because the energy is clinging on to you, holding you, and still trying to pull you and suck you back in. See what I mean? This is why I didn't want to do this reading earlier this morning. Yet the bloody cards still come out. Okay, anyway, let's carry on. So the chameleon effect is when there's a saying that's out there, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. Okay, and it is lovely when it's lighthearted and it sort of plays out. You might have had this friend growing up that wants the same shoes as you and buys exactly the same shoes as you, and you just think, what the fuck? Or someone that likes your perfume and buys the same perfume, it's the most sincere form of flattery. Okay. Now, the dark side of that is when you've got someone that is imitating or adopting aspects of you as a person, right? And then going out and practicing it on other people. So taking your energy and, your characteristics and kind of imitating like they are you, or taking things like your stuff that you're putting out there, your messages to the world, and putting it out there. Now, if it's all good stuff and it's done in light, and there's some references in terms of where they would credit the information and the source of information, where they're getting that from, that's different. We're talking about someone who's actually trying to imitate and pretend that they are you. And it doesn't matter if it's a feminine energy doing it to a masculine or a masculine doing to a feminine. The point is they're drawing from your energy and imitating you. And so you would feel that pull as well of this person using your energy and siphoning and draining your energy. Okay, so now obviously that would leave you feeling energetically drained when they're siphoning from you. So we'll talk about that soon. Now, we're going to have to take this to a few parts because, as usual, I don't like to go into something really heavy and then just leave you hanging with it to deal with it on your own, because that's not fair either. It's my responsibility as someone who is spiritual, and if I'm going to raise these topics, well, then I bloody better have a healing, some sort of healing guidance there in place for you in terms of tools that you can actually use if this shit is going on in your life. All right, so you know what? Let's just take it to a part 2, and let's deal with the healing parts following these two. Join me in part 2 because I want some good guidance for you guys.